still impressed that I have never messed up recording the stream,
What do you mean?
like starting the stream.
You're impressed with yourself that you've never messed up?
Never messed that up.
That's amazing, man. Great job.
I think your mic is the.
I know. I cannot figure out why, though.
Is it plugged in?
It's plugged in.
You plug it in?
She plugged in. Oh, that coffee looks good. My coffee maker's broken. Just got it too. We're on like our ninth coffee maker. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me get you a very nice coffee maker as a housewarming gift.
Done. Sold.
I think that's a perfect thing.
Couldn't agree more.
We have one that we really like. I actually got it on the recommendation of a friend who is very in tune with coffee, and it's great. It's a regular coffee maker. It's nothing, right? Just like a regular drip coffee maker, but it looks good. It's not just, it makes great coffee.
What's the brand?
Mocha Master, which is such a bad name for how like kind of fancy it is.
Wait, you're saying it's really fancy and the name does not imply fanciness?
Yes, Mocha Master's a little.
Yeah, Mocha Master sounds like the product that was made to look and function very similar to the more expensive version.
Right. It's the office version of the fancy coffee.
Yeah.
But check this out. I mean, they come in all these different colors. Come on.
Oh, it's like a KitchenAid mixer.
Kind of.
Buying a house is the worst experience I've ever had.
Wait till you renovate it.
Yeah. So what's going on with that? How we got to be coming near completion, right?
I didn't want to get into it.
Okay.
Anyway, you're gonna have one of these. I'll let you pick the color because you don't want to show up with a bright orange one if that's not exactly what you want.
I actually really like the look of that. And is that
we bought
2 switches, one to brew and one to keep the heat on?
This brews, the one on the left brews and keeps the heat on, the hot plate. And the other one determines like how fast the water flows.
This is
so if you have,
I like this.
It's very simple, right? There's not a lot to it.
Yeah. We have the Ninja right now. And I'm not exaggerating. We've gone through I think we still have most of them. There was one in our car for a while. I'm not sure what Allison's plan was with that. But it was just rattling. It might still be there, actually. It was like rattling around in the back of the car.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Just in case you need a brew to go. Brew on the road.
That's right. For the longest time, I had a hard time convincing Allison that the simple Mr. Coffee was all we need, because she didn't like the idea of making a pot of coffee and not drinking the entire pot.
So she wanted less coffee or more?
She wanted to not waste coffee.
Oh.
It wasn't about the volume. It was about getting that just right. So the next logical thought would be we would buy what?
A Keurig.
That's right. A single use. No, too much plastic waste. Can't do that either.
I agree with that. Sarah likes it. I hate it. I think it's just, and I don't think it makes great coffee.
I don't think that's my beef with it. Is I don't think it makes great coffee. I don't care. Plastic waste, whatever, sure. But the quality, and it feels like very dentist office.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. It is just very unsophisticated.
Right. And then we did
It's
the
loud.
Nespresso. It's loud. It's violent. It pokes a hole into that thing with that sharp device that could cut your finger off if you needed to.
We used to when we were in the apartment, I used to sit on the couch, and it was right next to it because like it was a small apartment, so the kitchen was essentially the same room as everything else, and her Nespresso was right next to my ear, and when she would run it, like I'd have to cover my ears. I mean, it was loud enough that it was it's really uncomfortable to be near.
Those things suck, man. Yeah, we had the appraisal yesterday. If this house doesn't appraise for the sale price, we are we cannot afford it. If it does, we can comfortably afford it.
Here's the thing. Appraisals, by their definition, are to establish a value for a piece of property. And for this one, were there multiple bids and you guys were the highest? Okay. Yeah. If an appraisal on a house purchase does not come back at the price that the house was purchased for, that appraiser should lose his or her license.
I don't really understand it, but it seems like it's similar to the in a murder trial, you need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It seems to me that the appraiser needs to prove that the house is not worth what it was purchased for. So in other words, their job is to validate that it is worth the purchase price, unless they have evidence to support that it is not.
So there's a couple different ways they come up with a value. One is cost, which means if that house was not there and you wanted to build that exact house, how much would the materials and labor cost to build it? Mm-hmm. That number is always lower because you're not building in location or whatever. You're not factoring in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, schools,
but the big one is where it's market value, and which is they take comparable sales.
Well, that's the tricky part, is that there aren't a lot, not in Cedar Grove, so that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. There's no way they're gonna fuck this up. And if someone's
I fought hard
that house, huh?
I fought very hard to put an appraisal floor into the contract. So because I didn't go see the house, the realtor took advantage of me not being there and slipped some things into the offer that she knows I would have never agreed to. But I was distracted. And, I've been so good and disciplined, and you take your eye off the ball for 1 second, and it's like, so I had to not only pick a house, I had 2 houses I've never been in. I had to select one. So we threw the baby in the car at like 7:30. We drive over to each of them, and I'm like, all right, I think this one. And then I have to re-engineer a contract I had already signed completely.
And I don't know that it's a coincidence that this is the first house that you actually bought and you won, and you weren't there and you weren't involved. So maybe it was you.
I said that same thing. I think it was more that the role that I've taken on is assessing risk and calling out things that will cost us a lot of money in the near term. And in such a competitive market, you really don't have the luxury of being that picky.
No.
So I think it worked out exactly the way it needed to, where I was distracted. I was present enough to weigh in, but just too distracted to really inspect closely. And I saw the house on Tuesday after the inspection. It's great. So I'm happy with it. It's got a really good energy, really good feel to it. And it's built in 1937.
Dude, it's gorgeous.
Old. Yeah, it's nice. I mean,
you want to show it
on the inside. Yeah, I could pull it. You don't have the Zillow up, I'm assuming.
Sorry, no, I
didn't know if you just.
I just closed it before the stream. For the appraisal thing, though, the if they're establishing market value and there was a bidding war to get to the price at which the house sold, it's going to be really hard for them to justify that it's not worth that. Everyone was willing to pay that number, essentially, maybe $10,000 less.
How do I know that my offer wasn't $100,000 more than the next one?
Well, I assume that you had an escalation clause in your offer, right?
Not allowed. That's not
okay.
in this competitive of a market.
Got it. Well, then, really? That doesn't make any sense.
What doesn't make sense about it?
So if
you think that the seller would want that,
absolutely. If let's just say your offer, you don't have to say what you paid for it, but if let's just say you offered $900,000 for it, and what you would say is like, I'm going to start at $850,000 and then escalate every $10,000 up to $900,000. Right?
Yeah, not a thing. I mean, in every offer we've submitted, the whatever offer sheet very clearly said no escalation clauses will be considered.
That's interesting. I
think it's that they want. It's a best and final silent auction. That's the best way to put it.
So they just want someone to overshoot if
that's right.
If necessary.
They think they'll get higher if you don't go 10 grand at a time.
Got it.
Because think about it. The psychology is we haven't finished higher than 7th in any house we've put an offer in on.
Right.
And then in one day we get 2. So number one, I think the market is definitely starting to turn, or at least flatten. Right. So we paid 1.1 for it. That's the offer. That was the top of the budget we were willing to go to, until we know if Allison's going back to work.
Sure.
Which, by the way, it looks like she is now. So I wish she would have spoken up a little sooner. Maybe we could have spent a little more.
It's okay.
I'm happy that we
now you have some cushion. It's okay.
That's right. But like the stress of it all, anyway, that's fine. So I was surprised we got it. Now the town we're in right now is Montclair, which we're priced out of, like pretty substantially priced out of. This is about 5 houses down from Montclair. And
okay.
So we're like I could walk to this new place. It's close
from where you are.
Yeah,
currently.
It's very close.
Awesome.
It's like a 4-minute drive. And
awesome.
I can walk to the train. Like it gives me a lot of things I like. I mean, it needs some work for sure.
Dude, yeah. Welcome to your first house.
That's right. It's like
it looks awesome. First of all, it's gorgeous. That's a gorgeous looking house. It's also big.
It is. That's kind of the downside of it, is that it's for 3 of us. There's a third floor with 2 bedrooms, and it's not like an attic. It's like a real third floor.
Sounds like someone's going to be building out a music studio.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Whenever in 6 years, whenever I have enough money.
Well, then you'll each have an office, right?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yep.
You want that.
Yep.
Like that first, go back to the first floor. The first floor. I mean, that's awesome.
There's some really cool things about this house.
That picture right there, like that room looks amazing.
It is. It's cool. Nice bay window.
TV above that fireplace.
Yeah, the fireplace isn't currently in working order. We have a call with the attorney today to kind of go over the inspection report and made all of my notes. Another thing with every single house that we've looked at is chimney and fireplace sold as is.
Yeah.
And it's not in working order. The chimney flue needs to be relined.
Yep.
And that's going to be 10 grand to get it back up and working, but we're going to ask for it. We'll see.
You know what's funny is I think our house is 1937 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's the exact same year. And so
she's at
they've been around for almost 100 years, like what, 85 years at this point? 87 years.
Original slate roof and original windows.
Dude, how good do slate roofs look?
Incredible.
They look awesome.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. And it has a slate floor on the porch here.
That porch, and that's screened in?
Yeah.
Dude, I know you don't like the screen. Don't rip it out until you've gone through a summer in a screened in.
Well, now that I've set foot in the house, number one, I can't believe that it's more visible from the street than it is when you're in there. They must have just cleaned them, because they're invisible. And I The screens are growing on me.
Oh, the
also
screens
want to
you
put a
mean. You
TV
can
out
see the
here.
screens, but once you're in there, it's
Yeah, you really can't. You don't feel them, is my point. Sometimes you're in a screened-in porch and you just feel kind of claustrophobic. This one didn't have that feeling, at least not
I've
while they were
never
clean. But
yeah,
the
I've never
floor
I've
is
never
the
had it. I think the lack of mosquitoes in there is going to be
yeah, they don't bother
really
me.
nice. Okay,
I'm one of
you're
the
the
lucky
one.
people
You're the
that
king
doesn't
of
get
the
bit.
mosquitoes.
Yeah, they obey my whim. Um, the slate floor is so solid that it doesn't
It-
it gives it like a like it doesn't feel like a porch. It feels like I don't know. The floor
it's
really
like
makes a big difference.
it looks awesome. Like that's a really cool space with a
Yeah, it
fan.
is.
Man, it's
So
big too.
Allison, it's huge. Allison wants to put a TV out here. What
Yeah.
say you?
I mean, once you get in there, you'll get a feel for it. But listen, if you were outside like that in a room that you can be in 3 seasons and not have to worry
Yeah.
about bugs, fucking make it really comfortable and spend some time out there.
Yeah.
I agree
We're
with
trying
that.
to figure out where we're going to invest in furniture.
Yeah.
We need a couch, obviously, for the living room, but like the living room it's very, um, it's very cozy, but it's not big, It's not
Okay, it
huge.
looks bigger, maybe then.
Yeah,
That's how
it's long,
pictures.
but it's narrow,
Okay.
right? So I assume we'll put the TV where the mirror is.
Yeah.
And we need a couch. So that's probably the first big purchase.
Yep.
But like you can't do like an L couch here, I don't think. Or maybe you can. But there's not a ton of space. There's a door here, and then there's a door here. And there's not a lot of space between. I would say about eight
Got it.
8.5 feet.
All right. I mean, you can still get a big couch.
You can still get a big couch, just not a wrappy.
Yeah.
I love this tile floor. This tile is over the hardwood. I just think that's hysterical that everyone was like, let's cover up this beautiful hardwood.
Also, why don't
ASAP.
they just take the hardwood out? Like, I don't know. If you're gonna do that, like,
I know.
why don't you just
Put
cut it out?
floors
It's not
on
like
top of floors.
it's not
So
permanent.
I had a couple of people tell me that if you're going to redo the floors, do it before you move in. Have you ever?
Yeah, but do they? I would probably. I mean, that makes sense. But like, do you need to redo them?
We would like to make them. We would like to expose the hardwood here and on the staircase.
Then yeah, you should do that before you move in.
Yeah. So, fun fact: this is not a picture. This is not a painting of a sailboat. It is a hole in the wall, exposing the sailboat that's behind the sink in the kitchen.
Oh,
I know. That caught me by surprise when I went to see it in person for the first time.
that's interesting. That is fun.
Yeah. This is the other porch.
Little you put the orders in and you go into the order up, put a little bell there.
See, there's the boat.
Got it. And then you look at the kitchen, you're like, okay, that's something that at some point you will want to change.
But also a different floor.
Got it.
And then this room is off the kitchen and is listed as like a family room or den. There's a couple of skylights above, but it's a really small, awkward room. These are the sliding doors to the deck that needs to be replaced according to the inspection report. Look at the tiny little sink.
Is that a powder room?
Yeah.
Or is that's a bathroom upstairs?
No, it's powder room downstairs.
Okay.
And this is the master.
Nice.
Look at the corner closet, bro.
Love it.
What is that? This is another closet too. This isn't the door, the entrance to the room.
It looks like a big room.
Is
it? No.
It's a queen size
pictures. Bed. Okay.
But it's not bad. I mean, it's great. It's bigger than our room now. That's for sure. This is the bathrooms are tiny. So like this, I think this house, the things will really other than cosmetic changes, the things we're really going to update are the bathrooms in the kitchen. Right. But
I think that's pretty standard, right? If you're going to update something.
I really liked that when I went through the inspection with the guy, there were so many things that it felt like these people, the previous owners who've owned it since I was born, since 1981, have made really thoughtful, logical, long-term decisions, right? And you can
Like
feel
what?
that in a house. Well, this isn't an example of that, but it did pop into my head. There's a generator, a natural gas generator in the backyard that will run the whole house indefinitely. And there are the address is 15 Old Quarry Road. It was built over a rock quarry. In the basement, they must have run into rocks that they couldn't blast. So they poured concrete and made like a stepped and then smoothed it out on the top to cover the rock. And so basically half of the basement can never be finished. And it's sort of half unusable. And it's really just for laundry and entering from the garage. But
Mhm.
I could imagine, it's hard to explain because there's no picture of it, but I could imagine that there's a lot of different ways they could have handled that. And they did it in like the most expensive, most aesthetically pleasing way. Even
Okay.
though the air conditioners from 1996, they bought the best one at the time. Right. And like, it wasn't just the best one. They bought like the inspector was like, let me take you back to 1996 and present to you the options they had. Cause it's
The,
nearing end of life and I'm worried about
the year was 1996.
it. It was a different time. The Backstreet Boys were topping the charts.
Lennox and Frigidaire were the brands of the day.
Newcomer Amana had recently released the C1300.
An Italian startup in the city of Salerno. I don't know.
So this is the bedrooms on the second floor, and this is the third floor. And there's a
Nice.
bathroom up there. This is where you get to stay. This is probably the worst deck I've ever seen in my life. And
It's tough to justify that one when you got a screened in porch.
yeah. I think it's tough to justify why it was built in the first place. I got a lot of questions about this setup. The
It's a
landscape,
huge bush.
the drainage they installed is like very sophisticated and thorough. The
Okay.
window wells, like they've really put thought into the infrastructure of the house. The landscaping is immaculate. I mean, this is a
Yeah, it
woman
looks
in
good.
her 80s and a husband with Alzheimer's, which is sad, because but you can just feel that they loved the house, you know.
Yeah.
This is going to be an issue.
Water likes to flow downhill, man.
Water likes to flood, but there's like a ton of drainage down here and over
Okay.
here and around the side. But I don't know, I don't know, because it's coming down this way. Kind of, I don't know if you can see from this picture, but it's kind of sloping this way and it's coming down this way. But the garage is a 1-car garage and certainly not my car. I measured the driveway. I don't know if I'll be able to fit 2 cars across here.
Okay.
I have to stagger them. But luckily, I don't own 2 cars, so
Can you park on the street?
I don't think so. Not on my side.
All right. So yeah, you might have to be playing some car shuffle, car jockeying.
I didn't even know that slate roofs were a thing. Roofs.
Yeah.
But it is handsome.
We had one in the house I was born in on Beechwood Boulevard.
No, wait, you were born in a house on Beechwood Boulevard?
The duplex, yeah.
You know that I was too?
No.
Have we never talked about this?
Ours was, I think my dad owned the whole thing at that time. And we lived
Yeah.
in one, it was a duplex. And I think they lived upstairs and they had a tenant downstairs. But it was literally on that stretch. If you're going towards the city through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, it was like the 6th house in that backed up to the parkway.
Got it. We were on the
Before
end
the
by
bridge.
Frick Park. So like the complete other end of Beechwood
Yeah.
Boulevard.
The
But
nice
still,
part.
well, not at the first part. When my parents, so before Shira was born in a condo on Beechwood Boulevard, which is very close to what you're talking about. And then by the time I came around, it was the the more civilized area of Beechwood Boulevard. But how crazy is that? We originated on the same street. We didn't even know that until 43 years later.
How about that?
Like the fact
Anyway,
that they
our
built
house had a slate
2
roof.
stone pathways. Oh, it did? It had a slate roof?
Yeah, not anymore. It's gone. But
Wait, the house you're living in now?
yes,
Why'd you get rid of it? I heard they last forever.
they do. They're expensive to, the nice thing is you can, we had an issue with the roof, right? So we had to get rid of it anyway.
What was the issue?
It was leaking. That was the reason we were,
And you
we
couldn't
were in there
replace some
when the
shingles?
hole was in the ceiling.
Okay, yeah, I do remember the hole in the ceiling. I don't remember. I mean, I didn't even know what a slate roof was at that point. So now it's all making sense.
It wasn't because of that. The framing was bad, and so we had to fix that. But
so I was just estimating the cost of replacing shingles, and I couldn't believe how much that was. And then I did Google the price of replacing the whole roof, and I really didn't like that.
Yeah, if you do have no issues, don't touch it.
No, I mean,
and they can come and just replace a couple of shingles.
Yeah,
they can replace those individually.
Yeah, I'm hoping they do that. But we had to also include. So the thing I couldn't get out of our offer that we got bullied into doing, or Allison got bullied into, was a $10,000 inspection waiver. So we cover the first 10K.
Yep, I don't think that's first of all, if it's that competitive.
Yeah,
you were even able to do an inspection. That's pretty good. So
correct. And I'm going to come back to them with a list still, and I don't think they're going to do any of them, but we'll see. And the way I tallied it up, like an air conditioner is supposed to last 20 years. Theirs is bought in 95. The inspector said it's going to die soon, or it's going to cost you in repairs. I don't think it's crazy to ask for like a couple years in repair costs, or I'm not going to ask them to replace the thing, but. So that's kind of the way I'm going about it, trying to be reasonable. Like he said that this tree is too close to the house, this guy right here.
Yeah. Maybe get that trimmed up.
Well, here's the question. If I put in if I submit my request list, whatever it's called, for after the inspection, and I put tree removal on there and I'm credited at closing, do I have to remove the tree?
I don't know. You should. I would think you would. Do you want to remove it, or do you just want to trim it back?
The inspector said it's just too close to the house, full stop. But I don't want to do either, to be honest with you. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's a little privacy, some shade.
Yeah.
Anyway. So when do you close? Do you have that scheduled yet?
So that's the trick is, I think it's going to be somewhere between June 30th and July 3rd. We have negotiated that we give our current landlord 90-day notice unless they can get out sooner. So I can lock the loan in for 45 days, which I got at 6.5%, and I'm not giving that up right now. So 45 days looks like the longest. I mean, the seller said they're okay with 60, but I think 45 is the longest I can push it with the loan.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Loans suck, dude. I can't believe this is your life.
I don't know. Home loans, they're fucking easy.
What's easy about them?
Everything. They're plug and play. You type in 5 numbers and you come up with the set of documents.
Well, I mean, like I feel like the process has just been difficult because my realtor's been in my ear. Obviously, I'm using my dad's company. The realtor's been in my ear the whole time about her local guy, and has made it seem that has made it seem like if I don't go with this local guy, we won't get the house and we'll probably both die very soon after. And it's been really annoying to have to fact check everything she's telling me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. You're playing defense against someone who you've hired.
Yeah, and like it's my dad. You think I'm going to leave my dad for the guy that you just said was great in North New? I don't give a shit about this guy.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You're in sales too. You understand the art of creating urgency where there is none to get
That's right.
someone to do something.
That's right. I know all the tricks. It's not going to work. But I just found out yesterday, or I'm sorry, on Wednesday, I was in the middle of a presentation in Toronto for a construction company, and my lender is pinging me saying like, "Oh, by the way, we can't use Allison's income for the loan because she's not being paid right now." And I'm like, "She's going back in like 3 weeks." And I was like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. Sorry, her income doesn't count." And that kind of stuff I think is dumb, right? We still got the loan, but like, still, what if we couldn't have? And we had gotten this far, and like, how is that not brought up before? They know she's on maternity leave, you
Yeah.
know. Ah,
Also, like, figure it out and then tell me
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
problem. Like, don't create to me like we might blow this whole
right.
thing up, but let me check. Like, just
Oh
fucking
no, oh
check
no, it's
first.
okay. Yeah, ridiculous. So it's
But
been unnecessarily stressful. But this appraisal, like, as much as you say it's fine, the I was only because I didn't put it in the contract originally, I was only able to get $1 million appraisal floor. So if it appraises for 1 million, I got to come out of pocket an extra 100K at closing, or put less than 20% down and pay. You know how it goes. And if I do put less than 20% down and do PMI, the rate also goes from 6.5 to over 7.
yeah,
So it's the difference of it ends up being like $1,500, $1,700 a month or something like that.
it's stressful, and the fact that there is no escalation clause in the offers does kind of mitigate my justification that the house went from what market value.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little more iffy, but appraisers, when a house gets sold, they seem to fucking always come in at the exact amount that a house gets sold for, especially in a market where houses are going left and right. The
I
last
mean,
thing
I
they
don't.
want to do
Yeah.
is fuck
Right.
it up.
Right. And like, why would the? But he also needs to assess risk for the bank, right? Or else he's useless to them.
Correct.
And so the
But
argument would be, if these people default, are we going to be able to recoup this loan? Is that the idea? Like, what risk is he assessing?
uh yeah, so the appraisal determines the loan to value, and if the loan to value is a certain number above 85%, 80%, I think that's what it is on residential mortgages. If it's above 80, it is deemed it's different classification of a loan for the bank. Which bank are you using?
I don't know.
Some small community bank, or is it
No
like
clue.
how do you not know who the lender? Where did they
It's
call
my
from?
dad's company, Federated Mortgage. So my dad's retired,
Oh,
so he gave me the guy he trusts.
got it.
Where would I
Got
find that on the loan paperwork?
Maybe I don't know how that works. If you're
Yeah,
going through strictly a mortgage
like a
originator, not a
broker. Yeah,
bank.
yeah. I don't know. I think they represent many banks and got me the best rate. And he's doing it for free. And he bought me down a little bit. So 6.5 is better than what I could have got on the open market.
I think at the end of the day, first of all, even if it does come in at the floor, you can still get the house. So, you'll deal with it. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I'll just dig up that extra 100K real quick. No problem. No,
yeah,
no
you're
skin off
not
my
giving
back.
this one up. You'll make it work.
Uh, if it
But
appraises
yeah,
for less than 1 million, though, then that's a different story. Now I can renegotiate, and Josh would love that.
yeah,
Eh,
it's not
uh,
going to. What did it list for? 849.
yeah, 850.
That seems unlikely. But I don't know. You know
Who
it better than
knows?
I do.
Yeah, I don't. I actually don't. I have no idea how this works. I think the whole
You know
process
the
is
area better
ridiculous.
than I do.
Right. So Cedar Grove is a little small pocket that is right next to a lot of high. So if this was in Montclair, 5 houses down, I wouldn't even be worrying about this for a second, because there's comps left and right for houses that went for way more. But that said, we went to go see a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath in the same town, Cedar Grove, a month and a half ago. I loved it. It reminded me of your place in the sense that it had like that old charm, but it reminded me of like what your place is going to look like after your renovations. Like, it had the old charm, but it had been like immaculately redone, and really good outdoor space. I've coined a term. I call it dynamic outdoor space. When the house extends outside naturally, no step, no gap, the kind of thing where you can have the doors open the whole time and go inside and outside, assuming that the bugs
Okay.
don't bother you. It had great dynamic outdoor space. Right. So technically, that porch is dynamic outdoor space.
Had great DOS.
Yeah, it's DOS.
I like that.
Anyway, it went for 1.1, and it was a 3-bedroom,
Oh.
1.5 bath.
Yeah, right.
Town. But there's not a lot of those in the last 6 months, which I think is what they go off of. There's just not a lot. It's too small of a footprint to have a lot of inventory that is sold recently. But all
It'll be
around
fine.
it, yeah, okay.
When is it supposed to be? When is it supposed to come back?
I think early next week, and maybe a couple days later because of the holiday.
Yeah, I know it's stressful, but if that's the last hurdle, then once you get past that, you should be good to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
Any tips for the inspection? Like
No, we didn't do one.
Oh, you didn't do one. And
we weren't allowed to.
You had to still get one. Did you still get one?
We paid when we went to go see the house for the first time. We had hired a guy, an inspector, to come with us. Paid him $300 to go see the house. We were paying like $300 to go see houses.
That's crazy. That's smarter than going with blind, but it's wild.
And there we were not allowed to put you can put whatever in contingency you want, but it would immediately get thrown out.
Yeah, right.
And so, I have nothing to offer as far as inspection.
Yeah. I love talking to my dad about this. He's like, I'd never buy a house without an inspection. I was like, well, then you would never buy a house.
Right.
Like,
That's
you shouldn't have put that $10,000. I was like, there's no shot I would have got this house without it. No shot. No shot. We've been looking for a house since February.
I didn't know about that, just maybe because the inspections were just so not a thing when we were looking. But my mother-in-law just got an offer on her house in State College, and the buyers put a $5,000 deductible in there.
Yeah, I mean,
so I guess that's
if this house were in Montclair, we would have had to waive it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So like this house was kind of a perfect balance. It's got good schools, but we're in a little pocket of a little pocket. So the town itself is a little pocket, but the house actually backs up to a nature reserve. So our backyard, you walk into the woods and it's miles and miles of woodland. So we'll probably see deer and animals and stuff, which I don't know, maybe that'd be good, maybe that'll be bad. But
eat your hostas.
Yeah. The little pocket that we're in of the little pocket of Cedar Grove looks nothing like 95% of Cedar Grove. So think like Peters Township when we were in high school, not Peters Township now. Farmland converted to suburban living, right? Very plain Jane, middle America, right down the middle suburb. And our house has a little more character. It's like and the houses around it have a little more character. Actually, our neighbors to the right, if you're standing facing the street, are two identical red brick houses that were also built around the same time, which I thought was interesting. And then there's some other unique places, and then you go down to the end of the street, make a left or a right, and you're in the normal suburbs.
Cool.
So I think that's what I was worried about the appraisal is that it depends. If he goes 1 mile in this direction, it's completely different than if he goes 1 mile in this direction.
They're going to find the ones that justify the price you paid, no matter how close they are.
Okay.
Did I tell you our nightmare story with the appraisal?
Mm-mm.
When we were trying to get a home equity line to do this?
Yeah. How do you do that? What do you need? What do you need to qualify for that? A certain amount of equity?
Yeah. So again, 80% is the max. And so
you need 20% to have down, then
you're right at 80%. And so your equity
I see.
That you could put on is zero until the value of the house goes up, right? And they've determined that through an appraisal.
Or you pay or you gain more equity in the house.
Yeah, and you could pay down your loan. The total debt can only equal 80% of your of the value of the house. So whether it's first or some combination of first and second mortgage.
So that's a bummer because we right now have a liquidity access line on our investment portfolio that will be reduced after selling to get the down payment. And I'm wondering if I should just use the liquidity line for the down payment and keep my underlying securities in place, but then I have to pay interest. I have to pay interest on interest.
What's the interest rate on that line?
6%.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
marketable securities.
Yeah. It is relative to the balance, but if I get it over 10 million, it goes to like 5.1.
Yeah, if you get it over 10 million, then you
I'm just
shouldn't
saying
need
that
to
like
pay interest.
and that's what I
on-
mean. And I would think that
Yeah.
that's so for whatever reason, that product right now is not a very attractive interest rate. But I'm sure that gets changed as markets change.
I mean, you can
So
always pay it off, right? You can always pay off that by selling the securities. So you might as well try and see what the monthly payment is. That's the way I view it, man. It's like so here's a couple things. You can, if you sell the underlying securities, you pay cap gains.
right.
So you're paying tax on that.
That's right.
And if you're just paying 6% on, I don't know what it would be, 150 grand, 100, whatever it is.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
what is that? That's
220,
nine,
but we already put a 50 deposit down.
so it'd be 170 then. I assume the 50.
We use the liquidity line for the deposit just because
Okay.
of the speed.
So 220. So you're at 6%. That's what, 12, 13 grand
yeah. And I don't have to pay that back on any schedule. I
a
can
year.
pay it back whenever I want. But it gains interest
Right.
every month. So,
And if you're only gonna, if you think that in a year you'll have a bonus that'll cover it, I wouldn't sell I'd suck it up for a year.
yeah, and pay
Pay
the
the
interest.
interest. Yeah. And again, they can always, if things really go sideways, you can just sell the securities. You can always do that. You might as well not might as well force yourself to do that up front.
The only risk is right now it's mostly Amazon stock because that's where both of us, so if that goes down, the liquidity access line goes down with it. So when the tariffs hit and the Amazon went to 160 instead of where it is now, which is like 210, we had offers out and we were like, shit, how are we going to pay for these?
Well, why don't you, I mean, one thing I would do is
split it up.
The risk is different for everyone.
Then we've got to pay cap gains on the Amazon stock, right?
I get it, but at the same time, you're also then built, if you sell Amazon stock and however much of it you feel comfortable doing to pay the cap gains, buy index funds, and you can still pledge those. So with way less volatility, that's something you should probably consider anyway.
So we have a financial advisor now, and I've been talking to him about that, and he's like, yeah, it's tough. It's been the same predicament I've had I've had this stock for a long time now, and nothing would have outperformed it. Literally nothing.
Right.
So at any time, if I had done what we both know to be the logical decision, I would have cost myself a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
And
you're right. If it was some other stock, like some startup or whatever, some bullshit company, then
I got plenty of that too. But
like, it's Amazon.
No one's giving me a line of credit on that shit.
Yeah. That's what advance rate did they give you? 50?
What's advance rate mean?
So you have, let's just say you have $1 million of stock. What's is 60?
75.
70. They gave you 75%.
Yep.
That is really high.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. When I saw that, I was like, wait a second. So let's say I spend all of this and the stock price goes, no, I'm never going to spend all of this. Like you can't. They've given me more than enough rope to hang myself with. And this was the first time I used it was for the deposit. It's an emergency fund, right? But now I'm thinking it might actually be more useful than that. I love how there's just like these extra tools for people that have more money. It's like the Eddie Murphy skit on Saturday Night Live. Pay us back whenever you want or don't.
Right.
It's up to you. So did I?
No, you're right. That's how rich people avoid paying taxes, man. They accumulate a bunch of assets and then lever them and spend that money and pay the interest. And it's much cheaper than paying income tax.
Yeah. Like as a fellow debt-free individual, do you ever think about, well, other than your house, do you ever think about like, you read about people who really lever up? Trump, Elon. Elon bought Twitter on a liquidity line
Oh
from his
yeah.
Tesla stock. Like that's, and I'm wondering if I'm doing it wrong, but how do you sleep at night? Like, how do you have a peace of mind at all? I mean, those guys obviously are in a different stratosphere, but just the idea of leveraging to the hilt. I used to be a
I
big risk
have
appetite guy, and I'm losing it.
I have some experience with in my current role with a borrower who does that. And
Borrower who does that.
they
Okay, an
they
individual or a
run
company.
yeah, it's an individual, and then through his company and multiple companies levers every bullshit asset that he can. And it
So
is
house, portfolio. What else can you lever?
well, his business is real estate and everything from like fix and flips to office buildings and stuff like that. And some of these things are fucking dogs. One, you got to find a bank that's dumb enough to do it.
To let you borrow against it.
Right. And I won't get into the specifics, but there is a dynamic there that allows it provides an additional layer of incentive for anyway. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like it's just you have to be working with a lender that will let you that will not come after you.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would they come after you?
Dude,
Because you're not making payments, you mean?
No, you're making payments, but the assets just aren't worth anywhere near what you think they are.
So at any time the bank could come back and say, wait a second, that we overvalued this asset. We're going to adjust our terms here.
That's right. And the bank will make a decision without doing all of the due diligence.
Because they know they can replot at any time, or because they're lazy and dumb.
Lazy and dumb, and also in on it, maybe.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, right.
Because there's an incentive.
Mutually incentivized, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Damn, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and I got it. I hope to be able to tell you the full story here in a few months, but I can't yet.
Okay.
So anyway, I've seen situations like that, and it's like that's the formula. Because if you just try to do that at a regular bank, at someone who's making proper credit decisions, in my opinion, you wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah. But guys like Elon and Trump are just people want to invest in the brand, and so they just use other people's money or other companies' money to buy what they want.
I was actually thinking the better move might be to furnish and remodel with the liquidity line. No, actually, I'm not going to be able to do that. If I use the stock for the down payment, the liquidity line, I should have enough. I would have enough left to, because I've sold off Amazon stock along the way. Like we just had a chunk remaining that we were like, let's just keep this for the down payment. And at the time, we were looking at higher value homes, so we thought it was going to need to be more. So there'll be enough left over. But yeah, I don't think I can use it. I don't know if I can use it for the down payment. It's just sitting. It's like my monthly is already going up by $1,700, $1,800 a month.
Yeah,
I'm going to feel that. You know, that
extra don't even think about remodeling yet. Just start making a list of things you want to do, and then when something goes wrong, because it will, because it's an 87-year-old house.
That's right.
And it becomes an emergency. Then you can start.
But you wouldn't. So not the floors.
No, I think you can do that. You can do that before you move. Just have someone come rip them out, right? Because there's hardwood underneath.
I think so. Yeah.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah. When can I do that? I have to wait till closing to check.
Yeah, it ain't your house yet.
Yeah.
Once it's yours, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, man, if there's not a problem, I'm a big proponent.
If it's just cosmetic, like because you're saying there's going to be structural, like functionality things that I'm going to want to fix, and I won't really know until I'm living in it and feeling what it's like to live in it. Yeah.
At some point, that is going to be the case.
Like the shower in your house, 87-year-olds.
Yeah, you get a leak in there or something.
It's more that like I don't understand how these oldsters were getting in and out of this thing. It's
Yeah, it
there
seemed
should be
like
a
a lot of
ladder.
stairs.
I'm talking about just the bathroom in the just the master bathroom, like to get into the shower. It's a tub shower, which I hate, and it's a shower curtain, which I also hate.
Yep.
But the what do you think? Are we getting 2 cars in there?
Get a car and a one of those 3-wheel motorcycle things. What are they called?
Yeah. Trike.
The trike. Yeah, you get a car and a trike. You get a
There you
motorcycle.
go.
That's it.
Ooh, that's an
You've always
idea.
wanted a motorcycle.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can find this.
Motorcycle with a sidecar for Sloan.
All right, here.
Can you buy sidecars? Like, is that I feel like that has to have been phased out safety wise.
See the step
Yeah,
up
that's
into that shower? That's a jacuzzi tub to give you a sense of how deep it is. Right?
yeah, you got to build a door in
Like,
that thing.
like how is that not? How much does you would know? How much does redoing a small master bathroom take? Or how much is that going
I
to
guess
cost?
it depends on what you want.
Let's just say I want
Um,
something in the middle between the barely minimum viable product and baller redo it all. Like in order to really make that bathroom great, we'd have to bump it out. And then that's a whole like Allison keeps talking about the domino effect. She's like, you don't realize
yeah,
this yet. You want to fix one thing, but to do it, you got to fix 3 other things. And if we really want to make that bathroom great, we got to bump out. And to think that we need more space in that house is insane because there's 3 of us and there's 5 bedrooms and 3 floors. Like we're not going to see each other. We'll be,
yeah, right. Everyone's got their
so
own
I
wing.
don't like the idea of making anything bigger than it already is. It's already like I can't in the yard. It's a lot, man. Like the like going around with the inspector and he was like, oh, the generator needs annual servicing, so you're going to need a contract for that. See these little green pucks? That's because of termites. Looks like they had them at one time based on when they were installed. Doesn't look like it's a problem anymore, but that needs annual maintenance. This is going to need annual maintenance. The chimney is going to need annual maintenance. Do you guys have a fireplace? I don't remember.
Yeah, we had to
Okay.
get the flue relined.
How much was it?
I don't remember.
I need to know.
We
for
never
my
used it. We
inspection
still haven't
estimate.
used it. we never.
Why
We
not?
did it and we never used it.
Oh, it's wood burning.
I think it needed to be well, it was, it's being changed. I think we
Gas.
needed to so
Being
the
changed to
flue needs
gas?
to be relined, but then the actual like this part of the fire, like right above the actual fireplace, the bricks needed to be lined or as well or something. There needed to be cleaned. I think there was so much buildup over the time that the guy was like,
Yeah.
it's actually a fire hazard.
Well, so
If
when
that
they came
catches
to,
on
we
fire.
had to get first. So first of all, the inspector doesn't cover chimneys, by the way, or roofs.
Right. Second
He
guy.
flew
Okay.
he flew a drone up to look at the roof, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Seeing this like 65-year-old guy with the t-shirt tucked into his pants,
No
flying
belt.
a drone was funny. Standing in the front yard, like. But you want to get the chimney inspected? That's a separate guy. You want to get the sewer lines inspected because, of course, that matters. Well, that's a separate guy too. You need a separate guy to come and determine, even though the seller in the seller's disclosure said there's no oil tank on the property, you need a separate guy to come out and make sure there's no oil tank on the property. I love how this and the way these guys talk to me is like I've been in their industry for 50 years. He's like, oh, well, I took a look at the sewers. They look really good. It's cast iron, and it's only it's about 7 feet from the main connector.
And as you
So,
know,
so
you
and I
want it
was
to be
like,
less than
yeah.
9, so you're good.
So seven,
Oh, yeah. Cast
seven's
iron,
good.
7, yeah. I was thinking that.
7, yeah. Oh, not 8. Oh no, you don't want 8. Well, yeah, of course. I'm just kidding. I was kidding. Of course, we don't want 8. 8, that's fucking
At 8,
crazy.
maybe if you want PVC, but who wants PVC, right? I mean, it's I don't know.
So the chimney guy was like, you could see him thinking about it, and he started reaching to turn it on, and he was like, you know what, guys? I honestly don't know what would happen if I turned this on right now.
Yeah.
And because it's gas and you haven't bought this house yet, I'm not going to. And I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good sign that the fireplace might detonate the home.
Yeah, it's real.
Like,
But yeah,
you don't have
you
a,
gotta,
so the yard is the big thing. It's
mhm,
the landscaping is really nice.
mhm.
And you know how you go on Google Street View and you can see the updates they made to sell it? It looks like they, let me show you. It looks like they put way more than they needed to sell this house in this market. They added a second walkway. And they took like, what the fuck is this? They took these awful awnings off of the dormers in the front.
They had awnings up there on the dormers. By the way, I'm looking at a sidecar company. Man, these things look good. They're like really
Yeah.
good. They do. Let me show you real quick if I can pull
Yeah,
that up.
please show me.
How good is this? Like, how cool are those?
The Patriot. Look at the Tomahawk. That's so cool.
I know.
What are the prices? Let's see what
Let me
the
click
Tomahawk
here.
is gonna run us.
Oh my God.
That's a
I love
nice
that.
ass sidecar.
$12,000 for a sidecar.
You think that's comfortable?
Motorcycle not included.
Number one, do you think it's comfortable to have your legs straight out in front of you? And number two, what do you think it feels like to be going 80 miles an hour with your feet straight out in front of you and like 6 inches off the
Zero
ground?
control. Yeah, it's zero control in a motorcycle.
Get heated seats for an extra 350 and an optional seatbelt for 75. An optional seatbelt.
It's the seatbelt's cheaper than the dual USB port, the cigarette style port. Man, they got all kinds of stuff here. Tinted windshield. Anyway, man, those look great.
That's
But
more
yeah,
than a motorcycle though.
is it? I have no idea how much motorcycles.
Motorcycle, like a $13,000 motorcycle is like an awesome motorcycle. A Ducati.
Okay. I'll tell you what though, at least they look like they're worth it. That looks
Yeah,
little
dude, that thing
fantastic.
looks fantastic.
All right.
Oops. See these awnings?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, those are.
And they updated the landscaping. They did a really nice job with it. Like, see?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll take some maintenance. You're gonna have to buy a lawnmower. Do you have a shed?
Yeah, there's a shed out back. There's a shed and like a swan statue that I asked for the boat in the kitchen and this swan statue to stay. This little guy.
All right. Well, you got a shed. You gotta get you a
shed.
lawnmower.
Yeah, I was looking up prices of a lawn boy. What do you think a lawn boy runs you these days?
I don't know, man. I bought the cheapest one I could find.
You get an electric one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the smallest one. I carried it out of the Home Depot in my arms in the box. She was like, "Do you?" I'm like, "Nah, I'll just carry it. It's only this big." I got an Easy Go, or is it Ego? That brand.
Easy Go, what?
I think it's Ego. I will say this: if you're gonna get an electric one, pick a brand that makes all the stuff you're gonna need, like a weed whacker or whatever else you're gonna need, and the batteries can be interchangeable. Make that decision now.
I don't know. I think this yard is too big for an electric mower. And if I'm going to be doing it, I also don't know how, with my schedule, I'm going to be like, I might have to go 10 or 11 days sometimes. And I don't think an electric's going to cut through full growth of 10 days. You know what I mean?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, you can also get one. You can
It's
get
been
an
years since
extra
I've used an
battery.
electric mower.
I think if are you concerned about the power, or are you concerned about the battery life?
Am I concerned about the power or the battery life? The power and the battery life.
So you can always get an extra battery.
Power and battery.
I don't know about whether you think it's gonna cut through whatever you are envisioning of week-long growth in your yard, but
well, it gets pretty thick. You know? Like it gets,
I don't know.
Sorry, I just had to reschedule a meeting that was on the calendar for today. Oh, dude, I have very, very little on the calendar today. And so I interviewed at Anthropic, the AI company. Dude.
Yeah.
This was one of the single worst experiences of my life, professionally. And so they just had to evaluate a Series E at $61 billion for a 2-year-old company.
Wow.
They know, they're very aware of it. They're very aware of it. And they are a bunch of emotionless eggheads who took their Eye of Sauron algorithm and peered into my soul and then didn't like what they saw. So first interview was with the recruiter. It went well. At that point, I didn't really give a shit, so it was fine. Talked to the hiring manager. The hiring manager actually was introduced to me through a mutual friend last year because he wanted to go work for the guy who hired me at Navan, who had left to go to a different place. And he wanted to know what he was like. We had a great chat, talked to him for like an hour, cool guy. Now he ends up interviewing me at Anthropic. So that's a little bit of good luck. That goes well. And they say, okay, the next step is a take-home assignment. Write a 13-page essay about AI and how you would sell it and to what 3 industries you think are best suited for it, and an account plan for Salesforce. Imagine that you have to sell to Salesforce. So an account plan is a lot of work. And you have 2 days to do it. Go. I finished it on my flight out to San Francisco for my current job's QBRs. I got into the hotel Sunday night, worked on it, closed the laptop, went to bed, woke up, went to the QBR. Right? They loved the essay. They said, all right, last step, Josh, here we go. It is going to be a 6-part virtual interview over 2 days. The first part is you're going to explain the logic of your essay for 30 minutes. Then you're going to use that Salesforce account plan, and we're going to do a mock presentation to the CIO of Salesforce, right? And the other ones, we can't tell you what they're about. We're leaving you intentionally unprepared, right? So I start off explaining the logic of my essay. They're 10 minutes late for a 30-minute meeting. They jump on, no hello, no how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Can you walk me through the essay? So I start talking. I'm like, okay, so I kind of wanted to start by giving a thesis. They're like, and what about the industries? And I was like, okay, so the reason I picked these is like, well, no, I mean, talk about financial services. Why'd you pick that? And I was like, well, it says it in the paper, but blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right, manufacturing. Okay, great. All right, give me 1 second. We're gonna get ready for the role play. And the role play, it's such a bad idea for interviews because my job, especially on a first meeting, is to ask questions. Ask really good questions, learn as much as I can, uncover any issues that we can fix. But they're not actually the CIO of Salesforce.
Yeah.
So they can't actually answer those questions. So it always feels awkward. Didn't go great. At that, I was so prepared that I felt like I could have pitched to the CIO of Salesforce and it would have went great. Next interview. So like I'm feeling bad momentum at this point, and I'm like, this isn't going well. I have that feeling.
Yeah.
And I had like an hour break. So get on the next one, and a girl comes on. Not one person smiled out of anybody. Not one person said, hey, how are you? We're excited about you. Nothing. Josh, do you have a pen and paper? Great. So imagine you just took over sales at Anthropic and you have a board meeting tomorrow. With your pen and paper, draw me 3 charts that will inform them on the health of your business. I'll wait. You want to see them? I have them.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
And then literally asked me to hold them up to the camera when I was done. And
also then sell me that pen and paper.
I would have killed for sell me that pen. Tell me
How
that
many
man was-
manhole why are manhole covers round?
So we haven't gotten to that part yet. It wasn't quite that, but it was worse.
How many
And
streetlights are there in Manhattan?
like when they asked me to write the essay, they
Yeah.
said, we're not going to ever give you feedback on this. And we're either going to say like, we're going to the next round or not. Here we go. I drew 4. I was an overachiever.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, looks like good growth to me.
Yeah, we're definitely trending in the right direction.
You want to see that positive, that hockey stick growth. That's what they always say is the most accurate.
So for the next one, I want you to actually pretend that I'm interviewing you for this job. Okay.
Okay.
It's not sales related. Okay. So someone jumps on the meeting again, no pleasantries, nothing. Hey, Josh. So we only have a limited amount of time, so I'm going to get into it. What is one of your deepest held beliefs? It can be about anything. It can be about work. It can be about life. It can be about politics, anything.
One of my deepest held beliefs is that I think that people are inherently good.
Now, why do you feel that?
I've had experiences in my life where I've seen people do things that surprise me for the benefit of others. You just don't hear about it all the time, and I like to have that mindset when I'm, going through life. I think that's just a good way for me to navigate the ups and downs of everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like a deeper belief?
I do believe that 9/11 was an inside job.
Okay, now tell me why the other side is valid.
The other side of
your belief.
My belief. The other side. So that 9/11 was actually done by hijackers from Saudi Arabia?
That's correct.
I guess some people want to believe whatever the mainstream media tells them, and they just think that that's sheeple, right? I thank you. That yes, I think there are people who just would prefer to keep their head in the sand.
So do you want to know what the first thing that popped into my head was?
9/11 was an inside job.
Worse. And then I couldn't shake it. I couldn't stop thinking about it once Israel and Palestine. And so I actually said, look, I don't know why, but the first thing that popped into I think I was reading the news that morning. First thing that popped in my head is Israel and Palestine. And I just want to say that because I don't want you to think that's why I'm taking so long to answer the question. I'm trying to move off of that because I don't think that's proper for a job interview, like expecting a chuckle. And she was like, whatever you want. And I was like, you want me to talk about Israel and Palestine? She was like, if you want. And I was like, but that's kind of inappropriate for a job interview. And she was like, whatever you think.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
she like hovers her hand over the escape key to end the meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so whatever you want.
The next one was this was a good one. Prove to me that you're able to change your mind.
Well, you know what? When Donald Trump first ran for president in 2016, I hated him. And then, her emails and 4 years of the worst president of our lifetime. And now I'm an economy guy. I'm a numbers guy. I like a businessman in the White House. And I think that, Donald Trump I voted for him in 2024.
I talked about IVF. Which wasn't even true. I was like, my parents said, use the term test tube baby when I was a kid. I have a relative who had a kid with IVF and they didn't even tell the kid. So I had this thing in my head that it was taboo, right? And I wanted to conceive naturally. But then I learned about it more and I could be in the room and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know if they were buying it. At no point did I feel comfortable being my authentic self. At no point. Right?
It sounds tough.
that's kind of like where I excel, is just by being me. And like there was
Yeah,
just no room for that.
it'd be really exhausting to try to have to not be yourself at this point in your career.
That's right. That's right. That's a perfect way to say it. So the thing that kills me is I got off to the interviews. I was talking to Allison and she was like, "Oh my God," like she just saw my face and was like, what did they do?" And I said, "It's just been the worst experience. And my regret is that I didn't back out, is that I didn't say to them, I don't." So I did send the recruiter and the hiring manager an email saying, like any review, there were some good moments and moments I wish I'd redo. I struggled to get comfortable, and I don't feel like I gave anyone a true sense of who I was, and I don't think I got a true sense of who they were, right?
Yeah.
Um, they rejected me is the end of the story. And I feel like the whole reason I wanted the job is because I'd be basically making what I make now, but it would all be guaranteed.
Got it.
That's huge, especially with the house and Allison maybe not going back to it. Like it's huge. And I set a goal that I wanted to secure double my current salary and guaranteed income by the end of Allison's leave. I set that goal months ago and I was right there. Right. So my frustration was that I didn't accomplish that goal. The job, I don't know that I feel more relief, but the worst part is that I took my eye off the ball for 2 weeks in my current job and now I'm paying the price. And like went through my email yesterday. I forgot to get an NDA back to somebody. Someone had sent me availability and I forgot to schedule the meeting. So like stuff that just, you know, unacceptable stuff that it chaps my ass.
Yeah. Maybe, you know, the takeaway is that literally the money is not worth chasing sometimes.
That's exactly right. That's that has been my takeaway, is that I don't need to chase every shiny thing just because it's shiny and will improve my. I mean, the downside of it is that the commission was capped. So I would have, it's a 9. I've never seen this before, that they're growing at a rate of 4% per week, which I'm glad to share on the internet because they've told me explicitly that I can't share it. So Anthropic is growing at 4% per week. That's insane. So they can't set quotas. Like any quota they put in front of people, they would blow it out in the comp plan. Comp plan setting in sales is like a very delicate science. So they've said, we're going to pay you a 70% instead of 50, we're going to give you 70% in salary. The other 30% is variable, but we're going to put a 90% floor on it and a 115% cap. So you're really making, there's like a $40,000 variable cap.
Yeah, right. It's like 30, it'll either be 27% or 34% kind of thing.
I don't know how you got those numbers, but I would either be making
90% of 30%.
Yeah. That's right. You got it. That's correct. So like that was weird. And right now I don't have a cap, but obviously it's hard to blow through that, but it was quite a saga and like.
Good story.
It's a good story. And I mean, there's several more questions that were just like, I've never spent so much time in an interview silently thinking.
Right.
What is one of your deepest beliefs in a job?
What are they looking for?
So it felt like I was being vetted for the Manhattan Project. And Anthropic's angle on AI is they call it constitutional AI. So rather than training their model on data, they train it on principles, which is really cool. And if you use Claude, which is their AI agent's name, it does feel cleaner. There's a cleaner feel. I don't know, it's hard to explain. There's a cleaner feel to it. The founders were co-founder of OpenAI with Sam Altman. Founders of Anthropic broke off because they didn't agree with his vision ethically. And so has made ethics and trust and safety their thing, which I think is brilliant because whoever's going to win that market is going to be whoever earns trust of customers, right? But they are so goddamn deep through the looking glass with how seriously they're taking it. So they needed to know that I was capable of changing my mind, that I was an open-minded thinker, but I had principles and beliefs.
So, but that's the thing. If you're going to train an AI model based on
money-hungry sales guy out with nuclear weapons.
But like whose principles and beliefs? That's important, right? That's everything. Yeah, but and at what point do they change their mind and their principles and beliefs based on the highest bidder's opinion.
Or right, because it's a research company, just like OpenAI, but it's very much not a research company. So I saw this morning that a guy, an engineer from Anthropic. By the way, the only interesting interview I had was with an engineer, and this guy was he was the lead engineer at Ford for a while. Like, you would imagine they've attracted some brainy, talented people. His name is David Hershey. This guy was I could have talked to him for hours. Fascinating. I could tell he did not want to talk to me for hours, but I was really enjoying it. Not him, but a different guy leaked to the Wall Street Journal that because it's being trained on principles, if somebody were to, I'm going to mess this up, but if somebody were to, let's just say, use Claude for nefarious reasons, it has the ability to reach out to journalists and the police. And AI still hallucinates a lot. So I could be doing research for work. Claude could misinterpret my intentions, and the police and journalists are notified. How could that go wrong?
That seems terrible.
Right. So
like why would you make that a feature?
Great question. So I think to your point of whose values, whose principles,
right? That's
where you can't make a machine a principled thing. Like, we're just not there yet. And Chamath, the guy from the All In podcast, early Facebook investor.
The name sounds familiar. Yeah, I'm sure I'd recognize him.
Yeah, you would. So he basically thinks these AI companies are he thinks they're regular SaaS companies with AI valuations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if it was just a regular SaaS company, they'd be valued at, 8 billion or 10 billion, like Navan. But they're not.
Right.
So this is who my buddy Max is working for now. He's working for his startup, reporting directly to him.
Cool.
Guess
what?
I said, no, I guess it's cool.
Man, I don't want to work that hard anymore.
Yeah. I was thinking about that too. Like, something about the idea that it was a team quota instead of an individual quota was like, I can breathe.
If you're going to be in sales, wouldn't you rather want your own? Like, I'd be resentful if I was the best performer on that team.
I've never seen people so high. I've never seen such like high-minded rhetoric and people so high on their own drama. Like, they are hiring like, at some point, someone's going to need to sell this stuff. And very little of the interview process had anything to do with selling.
Yeah.
But like, the former CRO of Reddit is a salesperson there now. Like, it's a qualification that you've managed a large team before for this non.
So they're just going to hire someone who can demonstrate that they've done it in the past, and they're just going to assume that they can do it now.
That's right. They're hiring the top 1% from any company, from like a select few companies. And I don't like that I didn't pass that bar. I consider myself an elite performer.
Well, maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was the whole Israel-Palestine comment.
Could have been. It genuinely feels like they looked into my soul and they did not like it.
Yeah.
They were like, ugh.
Fine. They did. Maybe they did you a favor.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
I'm sure. But, again, the money is.
Yeah, whatever.
Especially right now, buying a house.
If you don't think that's motivated me to go out and have a banner year, you know what I mean? Like, like Michael Jordan, I took that personally. Now I'll show
that's
those
right.
bastards.
Yeah, man. And then
why won't you tell me what's going on with your home renovations?
Oh, I will.
Okay, tell me what's going on. Is it?
I didn't want to cut up. This is the Josh and Sloan and Allison house purchase hour.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to have you guys there once we're all settled in.
Absolutely. That sounds like
you guys could live there. Great. I mean, you could have your own floor. You have your own bathroom.
Perfect. Clear it
Love
out.
it.
We'll move our shit in, and
Yeah.
you might
Well,
need
until
to.
your house gets fixed, you can
Yeah.
get somewhere to
Who
live.
knows when the fuck that's going to be?
So you don't
Apparently,
know.
windows are showing up today, so that's a big deal.
What'd you
But
go with? You go with some Pellas, some Andersons?
I have no idea.
I've heard Windows is a pretty pricey endeavor.
Yeah, man, it's one of the bigger endeavors. As a matter of fact,
Is it one of the more expensive line items?
yes. So
What's number one,
I've got. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I see airplanes out the window here, and I've got my flight tracker pulled up, and I'm curious. There's one. I'm facing north, and there's an airplane that just took off from DCA going to Key West, which is that way.
Yeah.
But it's there.
What's up
Now
with
it's
that?
making a big right turn. Anyway,
Can you share your screen so I can see the flight tracker?
yeah. Oh yeah. We can do that.
Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is this something you just have pulled up every day?
I
Or just
check it
because you
pretty
saw
much all the
planes?
time.
Have you been
Every time
following
I
what's
see a
happening in
plane-
Newark?
Yes, that's crazy, man. That
know.
shit. It's just stopping working. It's this plane right here.
What I find it. Do you pay for this?
Yeah, it's like $30 a year.
I'm so happy that, like, I mean, you would. I'm sure you would pay way more. This is great. Where's it going now?
There's
It's
so I play
on-
golf
Florida.
at this course, and we play at pretty much the same time every morning. Like tee up around 8:00, and there is an A380, which is the double decker.
I know
the whole way
I've been on
back.
one. They're incredible.
It comes in from Dubai right over the golf course, almost the exact same time every day to Dulles. And I'm like, what? Like, so we're on the same part of the course mostly when it happens.
Do you think it's the
which is
same
cool.
plane? Do you ever look at like there's no numbers or
Uh,
markings, are there?
Oh yeah. By the way, when you say same plane, this picture, like I clicked on this plane. This isn't
Yeah.
the model. This is the exact aircraft that's in the air.
No way.
Like that is the picture of
What
exact
is that, a 737?
registration number. I have to do this every time.
Is it a 737?
No, this is a
Smaller
small. So N2373NN.
Is it an Embraer?
It is an Embraer E175.
Love
But
it.
that's the registration number. It's that exact airplane.
But I'm saying visually from the ground, you can't identify markings on a plane. I don't think I've ever seen a tail number or.
No. I can tell when a plane looks different. Like it's got a different paint scheme on it, like the livery, as they say.
Livery. That's a great term. I've only learned that later in life, but I love it. It's such a great way to refer to like the kit.
These are the ones that fly over our house.
That looks like a
We can see
737.
from them.
No,
That's an A320.
Now, where do you stand on Airbus versus Boeing? Which would you rather fly on? And do you have a
I like
favorite
Airbus.
aircraft to fly on?
I fly American. I don't really care, but I fly American
Well, I
more.
care.
and
I
they
look at
have
that every
more-
time I'm booking a ticket.
I just fly American because I fly to DCA and it's mostly American, and they almost exclusively have Airbus.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so
The
United is
A321's
got a
nice.
little bit.
These are nice.
What's your favorite of the
Newish.
wide bodies?
Man, I don't fly on those very often. I haven't been on one. I'm trying to think. The last time I was on one was when we maybe went to London.
Yeah, London, or if you go to like San Francisco or LA. That's what
Not
like,
even-
if I'm
not
going to
from
San
here.
Francisco or in LA, I don't want to be on a 737 or even a 7. I can't remember. I think a 767 is wide body, so maybe it's a 757. That's a single aisle. But like if I have the choice
757 is
between,
single aisle, it's longer.
yeah,
767 is wide body. There aren't very many of those
yeah,
anymore.
United has them though, and so like if I have the choice between a 767, a 777, and a 787, I'm going 787 every time. It's newer, it has
Dreamliner.
humidity in the cabin. You got the Dreamliner. Do you know that the 777 is the longest range aircraft in the world, and that you could fit the fuselage of a 737 through the engine of a 777?
Yes, I knew
Isn't that
that.
incredible?
The intercontinental engines are so much bigger. They are so much bigger than domestic air engines.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
This one might be turning right.
We should have gone to the Boeing factory when you came to visit me in Seattle. I don't think I knew about your airplane obsession at the time. They have a great Air and Space Museum. The Concorde's there, or a Concorde is there. I think an old Air Force One is there. And they have the Boeing factory where you see like 5 787s lined up in a building. It's incredible.
That is cool.
Yeah. I mean, I did it twice, and I'm not nearly as interested in planes as you are.
The what's always
that
funny
would be worth the trip for you, don't you think?
Yeah. You can spend some time in Seattle doing other things too, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like these two are back to back. What's this? 737 MAX 9 from Newark.
That's the
Windsor.
last plane on Earth I want to be on. A 737 MAX. There's manufacturing issues. It's the least comfortable plane I've ever ridden on. Small.
Yeah, they're okay. They're like the default. I don't take as many long flights as you do.
Yeah.
And I only because mostly I fly out of here. Like I want to fly out of here always. So
have you monitored Newark through this tracker?
No. As a matter of fact, I turned off at one point. I used to get a notification every time an airplane anywhere in the world squawked 7,700, which means it's an emergency because it fucking happens all the time.
Really?
A dozen times a day, an airplane.
Tell me what the typical issue is. An engine down.
It doesn't say. I don't know, but I'll one going over, making the trip from Europe to North America, and it'll squawk 7,700 and then do a U-turn and land on the closest airport in Canada to the edge of the ocean, right? And you don't know why, but it's happened. It's in there's a forum where everyone's like, I wonder what it was, smoke in the cabin or a sick passenger. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man. I love that. I mean, I will say working in the travel industry is more interesting than I ever imagined. And the deeper I get, I'm over 2 years in now. So, oh my God, that's crazy. Go to Newark. Let's see what's going on.
They're landing and taking off. Look at this is the weird. This is the crazy one. If you go out here to where the international routes are.
Yeah.
And how many, I guess there aren't that many planes right now. It's kind of a weird time of day.
Dude, that's it. Oh my God.
And then you zoom in
this many planes in the sky. Oh my God.
So that's zoomed out, right? Let's just pick these
2 continents.
Zoom in.
Oh my God. Why are those 2 planes on top of each other?
That's what happens, man. They are literally, and they are right behind one another.
The meridian below that.
The same.
Back out.
So this Austrian Airlines going to Boston, it's at 3,600 feet. This one's at 3,300 feet. It's right behind it.
And I thought that there were certain elevations for eastbound and certain elevations for westbound.
They follow these tracks.
Lanes.
This one's probably higher. I bet this plane's up at 50-something thousand feet. No, 36. Never mind.
What made you think that?
Private planes usually.
Oh, look at that.
That's a cool looking plane. Swiss.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh, so it's operated by Swiss Air. I see. It's not privately. If it was, it's going to Teterboro. That's the big private airport.
A380.
Yeah, there you go. I flew one from Paris and they boarded it separately. We were boarding at the same time as the level below us.
Yeah.
There were 4 jet bridges. It was really, really cool.
747. Another private plane here.
Okay, so if it's a privately owned, it'll still show up.
Yep. They got anything that has to communicate with the FAA will be on here. There's hot air balloons sometimes.
Drones?
Let me find one. There's one.
Shut the fuck up.
Hot air balloon.
Where's it going?
Kind of looks like wherever the fuck it wants.
Would you ever get
in the air?
Well, you can't steer that. Would you ever get in a hot air balloon?
Maybe.
Let me
Gotta
rephrase
be a
that.
good reason.
Would you ever sit in a wicker basket tied to a balloon and go into the sky?
It's got to be over something cool. I got to be able to see something cool.
There are multiple hot air balloons up right now.
Like I'm not getting in this one.
Wait, that's at
I need to go over
62,000
Tucson.
feet?
63, yeah.
You can't breathe.
I don't think these are people. I think these are like weather balloons.
Got it.
Stratospheric balloon airship.
The ones
these
from
aren't
China.
these aren't like the wicker baskets.
These are the Chinese.
These are the
balloons
Chinese
flying on us.
Launched from Tucson.
Why don't we just do this every
And,
time we stream? This is fucking
Headed over
awesome.
Mount Lemon. So you can get people's.
Go to like North Korea. Let's see what's going on there. Is there no one flying over it?
Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you what. Here, I'll go this way because you get over these certain countries in Africa and there's no air traffic.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the biggest pocket of emptiness?
Like no one's flying over Libya ever.
Is that because that's airspace is defended?
Yeah, right. Like Sudan is not. No one's flying over Yemen.
They are like literally right around the bottle and like half of Egypt.
Yeah, no one's getting. There's certain places that like. Also, there's just not a lot of air traffic in and out of Sudan.
Yeah, right.
But
not a lot
let's check.
A lot of business or leisure travel.
And North Korea, same thing.
So
no one's
that
flying
must
over
be
North
a no-fly zone. I mean, I don't think they can afford to even fuel an airplane, let alone build one.
Afghanistan. I guess again, Afghanistan's cool now. Ukraine is another one where they won't fly over anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy. and most of Belarus and like a good chunk of, I guess that's Russia to the right there.
Yeah, you don't want to be anywhere near there. Well, one got shot down. Remember the early days of the war? Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
Yep. Russia shot down a passenger jet. But dude, just look at all these airplanes. That you see this and you kind of understand why they say that being an air traffic controller is such a stressful job. It's not just the one or two planes that you see. I think it would be cool. I've looked into it, man. I'm past the age to be able to even start the training. Yeah.
How dare they shut down your dream? Because I know of a place near me that has openings right now.
Oh, they all do. Newark.
Oh, Newark Airport.
Newark's got openings.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not even Newark. I guess it's out of Philly. The air traffic control hub for this area. 747?
Yeah, cargo. They turn a lot of them into cargo jets. That's a cool looking plane, though.
Where's Air Force One? Can you find it?
It doesn't show up.
Really?
I've tried to track it before. Yeah. They don't have it on the system.
Same with Marine One.
So what's interesting is that mostly at this time of day, a lot of passenger flights are coming from east to west, right? They're coming from Europe to US. But there are ones going from west to east, and they're all cargo planes. So every plane at this point, like FedEx, DHL, UPS, Cargo Lux.
That's crazy.
Let's see here. Iberia. There are a couple flights, but the main jets flying west to east at this point in the day are cargo.
I think that there's a convincing argument for the jet engine being one of the most world-changing inventions in history, up there with antibiotics or running water. I don't know, clean, drinkable water. It's connected the whole world, the internet. I'm serious. I think jet engines, giving people the ability to experience other cultures and other destinations, is massive. We are a species that needs to see and trust and understand and assess, and judge. That's what we do. I really, if you had asked me to guess how many airplanes are in the sky at any given moment on a Friday at 9 a.m., I don't think I would have guessed even half as many as actually are in the air. Does it give you a summary of how many flights are in the air right now?
Good question.
Can we, like, I also want to see who's flying at the highest elevation, who's flying at the lowest.
Let's see if we can filter.
The A380 is the biggest plane in the sky, right?
Yeah. I like A340s. I think those are cool looking. They have 4 engines, but they're like they're like continental engines. They're not in transcontinental engines. They're small.
Does this have access to aircraft carriers?
No.
And no military flights at all?
Military flights, but they've got to register, like not airplanes flying sorties.
Sorties, I love a good word. So the largest aircraft ever built was the Antonov AN-225 Maria. It was a cargo aircraft developed in the 80s in the Soviet Union. Let's see this bad boy. Oh my good God. Oh, this doesn't count. This is 2 planes.
Those are big.
No, it's literally 2 planes. It's a fixed wing. So imagine it's got 2 fuselages. Fusilli. And it has 6 engines. 3 on each outer wing, and there's a big gap between both of the fuselages. So there's like fuselage, a wing that extends over all of them.
Yeah.
I don't think that counts as the largest aircraft in the world.
Yeah, you can't just glue
what
2
the fuck
airplanes
is this
together.
thing?
Super Guppy. You checking that one out? I've seen that one in El Paso, Texas. Let's see if I can find it.
Yes, let me see. I'm seeing something. I think this is the A380. No, it's the Antonov 225.
This dude.
Yeah. Oh my God. What the fuck is that?
It's a real airplane.
And what is it used for? Cargo?
Yeah, they move other airplanes around inside of it.
That's wild. Look, just Google largest aircraft in the world. Man, that chrome paint job is something.
I know.
So that's the other cool thing about the Boeing factory is that you see the planes prior to the paint job, and they taxi out of the manufacturing facility, and then they pull right onto a runway and just take off. And they take off after accelerating for a quarter of the time that a commercial airline does.
There's no one in him.
Is that what it is? It's just easier to get lift?
I would imagine the weight's a big deal. Yeah.
The weight. Look at this thing. Look at the Antonov. Look at this big dog.
Yeah, that thing is
look at the wheels.
I know.
Tires. Holy hell. This is the one I was talking about. This is technically the world's biggest aircraft.
It's some fucking like early Wright brothers looking shit.
It's terrible.
It's stacked like the wings on top of like 8 layers of wings.
Imagine you packed your lunch and you left it in the other fuselage.
God damn it. The bathroom's over there.
Yeah, the bathroom.
Yeah, they got one bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, this is ugly. I don't like it.
Yeah, it was never gonna work.
What about this one?
There you go. Cruise ship. Airbus 3800. All right. Well,
that's the AC
C-130. No,
130. Yeah, I think it is.
C1 is it? Okay, those are big.
Yeah,
that's what they like bring back fallen soldiers in. You see those flying around every once in a while. They fly out of Dover. If you're ever at the beach, you might see one.
You ever been on one of these?
I think I was. There was one parked in New York, isn't there?
There is. Yeah, it's not a big one, but it's the Intrepid. Yeah. There's a SR-71 Blackbird on it, which is
okay. Cool.
I still think the coolest looking. I cannot believe That's one of those things that makes me think, when was that built? In the 70s?
I think even before that, I think they retired it in like the
Yeah, that's
late
right.
70s.
And it makes me think like, so what does that mean they have now that we don't know about?
I know.
And
There's
it's
one of those in did we go to the museum, the Air and Space at Dulles
you and I
with
as
you?
adults.
It was either you
No,
or no, I guess not. I think Jose and
I,
Laura were down and we
I
went
would
with them.
love I would love to do that. I love the
It's
Air
the
and Space
bet.
Museum.
It is. I've been 3 or 4 times, and I every time someone wants to go, I'm like, yes, it's very cool. They have the space shuttle there.
Which one?
Discovery, I think, and they didn't clean it. Like, oh, let's see if he figures it out.
That we're on search the Air and Space
There you
Museum.
go. Yeah, you missed. You hit the wrong button. Amateur.
Yeah. And enter.
They didn't clean the space shuttle. I think it's Discovery. It's definitely not Challenger. It's definitely not Columbia. It's one of the
You
other
sure it's
three.
not Challenger?
Pretty sure. But it's awesome to just stand next to.
What is this thing?
But yeah,
This
it's
Eastern
all airplanes.
Airlines?
They have a Concorde in there as well, but they have an SR-71. Like the first thing you see when you walk in is the SR-71.
I mean, that is
There it is.
just
I see the
such
picture of
a
it.
this one right here. It is
Yeah.
the most
Is that
badass
it?
looking
Yeah.
aircraft ever.
I know. I
And
love the so what was the world record? It went from Dulles to LAX in like an hour and 10 minutes or something.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Like these little prop planes, I love the teeth, the shark teeth
Yeah,
and the paint jobs, but I don't find them particularly interesting.
same.
Anything I can see
I
the
agree.
wheels on while it's flying, it's not getting me out of bed.
They also had they have the do you remember when that guy took a hot air balloon to basically space and then jumped out of it? It was like 10
Yeah,
or 10 or
the
15
Red
years
Bull
ago.
guy.
Yeah. They have
Yeah,
that capsule there, which is
that's
kind of
cool.
cool. It's
That
not,
was
you
a
know,
wild thing.
that was one of the first things that I remember them doing a really good job of like, we're going to make sure that this is viewable to everybody. We're not just going to like tell people that this happened.
What do you mean?
This guy's going to jump out of a hot air balloon from space, and we are going to make sure everyone can watch it live.
Yeah.
And I remember at that point it being like still kind of a new concept to live stream something like that.
Yeah. To live stream, it's called a halo jump, right? High altitude,
Is that what it
low
was?
orbit. I think so. That's. I would be worried that I would just jump out and start floating, like that the air pressure wouldn't be enough, and then I get sucked up into the vortex of space.
I don't think they were so close that that was a problem.
Sometimes I
You know
worry
what's
about
weird
just
is
walking down the street.
it's not floating. You know what's someone put it to me this way: when you're in space and you are floating, it's not that you're floating; it's that you're continuously falling and missing the Earth. That's what's happening.
What do you mean?
You know how when you
missing
jump
the
out of
Earth?
you jump out of an airplane, right, to skydive,
Yeah.
and you're just kind of there. And
Yeah.
if you let go of something, it would there's wind resistance, so it like things
Right.
fall at different speeds. But like you're falling in space, there's no wind, so like when you
Right.
let go of something, if there was no wind, it would just be next to you
Right.
forever. That's what's happening
But then how are you falling?
because you're constantly being pulled back to Earth, but you're so high up that you miss the atmosphere
That's crazy.
constantly.
So I see. So you're not staying in one position.
You're not floating.
You're orbiting. Is that what you're
You're
saying?
orbiting at however many thousands of miles an hour. I don't know how many hundreds of miles an hour, whatever it is.
When I start thinking about Einstein's explanation, the relativity theory about how the fabric of space-time, you ever seen someone that uses pulls a cloth taut and then drops something like a cue ball in the middle? That's what it is. We're not suspended. It's like a fabric. It is like a tangible thing, which is it really messes with my head. right? Like there's no gravity doesn't pull things towards you. It's that depending on the mass of the object, it depresses the fabric of space-time, which then changes the orbit of things around it.
And on that note,
I kept falling towards Earth, but I kept missing.
yeah, deep.
Now I'm just in space. If you had, if you're terminal, right, and you have the option to spend your last couple of days fed, watered, and toileted in a spacesuit, zipping around the Earth, would you do it?
I don't know that I want it to be my last few days, but I would do it. Yeah.
Well,
totally.
that you would eventually die out there. You'd have a little button that would say it's time. You've said your goodbyes.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty cool way to go.
Yeah. Would you like try
It's
to
very
make it for the sun? Really go out in a blaze of glory?
I think after a while it'd get boring. Like,
yeah,
you're
how long
really
do you
far
think that
away.
would be though? How long would
Pretty
it be
quick.
for the awe of the physical universe around you to become like, okay, I get it.
I think once you get away from Earth, like how long, I guess it depends on how long it takes you to get away from being able to see the planet.
You mean to be able to see a planet besides Earth?
I think that is that's month. What are they saying? It takes months to get to Mars, right? So even if we're talking about a couple days,
right? But no,
maybe you're
okay. So let's say you have a jetpack, you have propulsion, you have a couple days worth of propulsion, so you can zip around. You wouldn't get to the moon. You wouldn't get anywhere near the moon even, but you could get enough. You could get far enough away from Earth that you could definitely see the planets. I would assume. Right?
I bet you can get pretty
no light or sound.
I don't think you'd be able to like make out details. You would certainly be able to like see colors, but like they wouldn't appear as anything other than like pinholes of light, like they do here, like they are here.
Yeah, you're not that much closer, is your point. How high up is space? Like 7 miles?
I don't think is it fucking even that far? I mean, what's 5,200? So let's just say it's 5,000. So 7 miles is 3,500, 40,000. I think it's higher than that. So like what, 12 maybe?
62 miles above sea level
is where you can
the
orbit.
Boundary of Earth's atmosphere and outer space.
Okay.
It's called the Kármán line.
What's it, like 7 miles?
This line is not a sharp physical boundary, but rather a convention used.
Is it like a regular 10K up space?
So you're 62 miles closer. It's not a lot.
No.
You know what I read the other day? That if it wasn't for the Earth's curvature, the human eye would be capable of spotting a single candle from the very tip of Manhattan all the way to the end.
The light, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
The light from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Hey, lot to think about here.
A lot to think about.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. All right, my friend.
All right.
Have a great day. Good.
Congrats on the house.
Thanks, buddy.
Let me know how the appraisal goes. Hopefully, fingers crossed for you.
Thanks, man. You made me feel better. All right.
You'll get through it.
All right, buddy.
Later.
See ya.